Hope everyone's ready for another Kefka at Narshe race here. This time we're bringing you Riz versus Sawneyrath. So, hope everyone is nice and comfy. And they will be off momentarily. If you would give me 1 second, I'm going to go ahead and do some back end work real quick. So. Sorry about that, folks. So, we got Sawneyrath versus Riz here. I'm sure you guys are slightly confused of what may be going on right now. We're just going to go ahead and get a little bit of experience manipulation. We're going to have Biggs and Vix run away, or Vix and Wedge in this case. The translations are weird, and we're going to have them run away, go ahead and get some experience for our girl question mark here. The way experience works in this game is that the less party members you have in a given battle, the more experience that the remaining party has. So if everyone runs away except for Tara, Tara gets more experience from the fight. A lot of really quick tech going on before we even really get into the meat and bones of just mashing away at text here, but what these guys are looking to do here with this boss, which is actually pretty neat, is we're looking for the Whelp quick kill. This requires that we actually trigger a counterattack out of the shell before the shell actually gets his turn, thus overriding the shell's turn of pulling back in the Whelp's head. Because when the shell pulls into Whelk's head, we're not able to target it, and all we need to do is really hit it with 3 magic tech missiles, and it will kill the head. It doesn't look like we got it on one end. Riz looks like he picked it up, but Swanee looks like he missed it. That's a slight time loss here, but nothing that can't be overcome as we go on here. just, as soon as it shows its head, hit it with another tech missile, and we can call it a day. Kind of dicey, though, looking like our girl Terra, as she will be named, or Tia, due to other reasons, is only at 18 life, but it looks like Swanee managed to get through it A-okay. So, moving on here, we got a bit of story going on. Terra runs into the Esper, weird things happen, Vix and Wedge disappear, and we move on with life. So, going back with some of the other stuff that they actually performed at the beginning of the game, they did some configurations, which is pretty neat as well, which is they adjusted the battle speed, which only affects enemies, as it were. They changed the text speed as well, the battle text speed, and they set everything to memory for cursors. That's pretty nice, where if we wanted to use the same attack as we moved on, the cursor will just be in the same place, opposed to actually going down and reselecting things here. So, here on Riz's side, you see that we're renaming our characters down to a single character. Well, in this case, it's going to be T. This game has what is called scrolling text, where it shows each character as it goes along. As you see, it just rolls along, each one character at a time. So, by removing the extra characters in our players' or our party's names when we get a chance, it'll actually save us quite a bit of time as we go on. So, if you think about it, we're saving ourselves 4 characters from showing up each time Terra talks. So, a lot of little things going on here right now. It looks like both of these guys are going to be on step routes as well, which means we're going to know what encounters we get on what tiles. So, what they're going to want to do here is, as an extension of giving Terra as much experience as possible, we're going to go ahead and take these encounters here, and then get Terra up to level 6. We're going to take 3 encounters, I believe, 3 or 4 encounters here, plus 1 extra encounter. It's 3 encounters and 1 extra encounter. She's going to get to level 6, so we can do some slick manipulation. Because when new party members join, they join at the average party's level. In this case, our next party member will be Terra's level plus 1. So it's good. She's going to be level 6. Our next party member that joins will be level 7. So, combination of things here why we actually want to go ahead and use step route manipulation. Because step route manipulation will help us out in various parts for experience and certain encounters we may or may not want to get. So, as you see on Riz's side, he's going to take a couple of extra steps here to pick up 1 more encounter that will get him to level 6. It looks like actually it was probably Biggs or Wedge didn't run away, so he's going to have to take an extra encounter here. So he's going to actually be off step route, Riz is. So that's going to give Swanee a little bit of a lead right here. Luckily, halfway through this run, there is a little manipulation that we do that will actually reset the step route for Riz. So it's not the end of the world, but it's a little bit of a setback here. Shows the importance of having all our party members run away at the beginning of the run. A little bit of an annoyance, but what can you do? It looks like Riz actually ran out of MP as well, so he can't cast fire for these quick kills on these Vaporites. So, Riz getting his level 6 is going to go ahead and hit the next story trigger here. A couple of little flashbacks about from when Terra was brainwashed by the Empire. We passed all the tech early on in the game right now, and we're just going to be mashing a little bit, so we'll talk about the neat little things, like in certain cases, there's two parts of actually mashing in this game. There's one where you actually hold down the A button, and the other one where you mash the A button. You can hold down the A button to advance text in battles, but in regular screens where, like here, where Sawney is, we actually have to mash A to get through. So here we are introducing our next party member, our good old treasure hunter Locke. So, gonna go ahead and get some speed strats in there, just name him L real quick. So, Old Man is gonna tell Locke something about saving the Imperial Witch. She rides magic tech. We're part of the Returners, so we're gonna need her, blah 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 blah. So find the girl, save the girl, get out of town. So fortunately, it looks like the security guards at Narshe are like, hey, you didn't pay your toll, so we're gonna pick her up. But luckily for us, we got some Moogles here to save us. So we're gonna go into a mini game that was actually introduced with Final Fantasy VI. I believe it to be something like the original tower defense. We're gonna set up our 3 parties here, and we're gonna set them up to intercept the enemies as they come through and protect Terra, but we're speedrunners, so we really don't have time for that. There's a fun little interaction here where we can walk by enemies while their leg is up without triggering their encounter. Looks like Swanee's gonna take a little bit of a different way of getting through there, and the condition to actually clearing the minigame is beating up the Marshal at the end here, which is pretty nice. So this fight will go pretty nicely if we get our run buffer in with no net. Looks good. And then we're just gonna move some stuff around, attack the Marshal, and Mog is actually a character we can pick up later on, which is pretty nice. So all the other Moogles were not actually able to take their equipment off, but Mog, because he's a character we can pick up later, we can remove his equipment as normal, and we're just gonna borrow that Mithril Shield and Mithril Pike and equip it on some our characters later, or a character later actually. So looks pretty good out of Sawney, as Riz is going to come up to his Marshal fight. Let's see if he gets a net. No net there. Is looking pretty good. We beat the Narshe security guards, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here and head down to Figaro. Looks like Riz didn't manage to get the Mithril Shield in time, but getting the Mithril Pike is the actual most important part of that fight right there. So, turns out our girl T has amnesia here, so we're going to go down to Figaro, and we're going to figure out what to do from there. We're going to go meet the king down there. He's a good guy, so it sounds like a good idea to head down there. So, Swanee side, he's going to go ahead and, if he's on step route, which looks like he still is, very good, he's going to get only 2 encounters here. We don't want to fight these leafers because they don't give too much experience, but we will need to do something of an experience grind later on for other party members that we'll get. This is where a little bit of separation may occur now because I'm pretty sure Riz doesn't know what encounters he's going to be getting, so it's going to be a little bit obnoxious for him. Here we are, we're going to go ahead and talk to the good old king of Figaro, Edgar. We're going to dub him E. Got to save those frames, get rid of those characters. He's going to tell us to go ahead and look around the castle, you're safe, he doesn't want to harm any ladies. And we just got some more story to trigger out here. So we're going to take a quick tour of the castle, as it were. Fun note about being in Figaro Castle is you can go ahead and misstep here all you want because there's no threat counter here. So if you walk incorrectly like Swanee just did there, it's not going to mess up his step route for later. Just got to try and move as efficiently as possible from one cutscene trigger to the next. There we go, little flashback there for our king's twin brother Sabin. He's going to become important later on, as we know. All the characters that we name in this game are fairly important. So, good thing we know where the cutscene triggers are. We're just going to talk to the matron there and just head back over to Edgar to move the story along a little bit. Here we're going to meet our infamous antagonist, Kefka. Known for sand on his boots and his notorious laugh. And his catchy tune. So here we're what we need to do is actually speak to both of these soldiers before we can actually speak to Kefka. There's a little order of things, as you know. This is RPG running, so we have to speak to people in certain orders or just speak to certain people to move things forward. So before we can actually speak to Kefka here, we're gonna have to speak to these soldiers. So something about a witch and we want her back. She's not here, and Kefka leaves. So everything's alright. Everything works out in the universe here. So here on Riz's side, it looks like he's going to get the face-off here. So saving some time by frame perfectly talking to these soldiers here, and it doesn't give him a chance to face back forward. So looking to make up a little bit of time there. Kefka's gone, so we're gonna take a nap here and figure out what to do in the morning. But fortunately, the morning comes a little bit sooner than we would like it to, because yeah, Kefka didn't leave. Of course Kefka didn't leave. He's smarter than that. Gonna go ahead and light our stone castle on fire, because those are good ideas, right? Luckily, we don't need to speak to Kefka here. We're just going to go ahead and move around him and then talk to this and move forward with the story. Hop off in our chocobos and ride off into the sunset. Castle's on fire. We don't need to be here anyway, right? Luckily for us, our King E here he's pretty good with mechanics, so he turned his castle into a submarine. Submarine that goes under sand, which is pretty cool. So that'll put out the fire and save Figaro. Good plans are good. Very, very convenient. Unfortunately, the Magic Tech armors are still around here, so Kefka's going to go ahead and sick them after us. But luckily for us, our characters actually have special commands for each one. Each character has a special command that they can use. Terra's is magic, Locke's is steel, and Edgar uses tool, which is going to be our primary source of damage for a while. He comes with a good old auto crossbow. Does a bunch of damage, and Magic Tech armors are, they're pretty pushover enemies. A couple of auto crossbows and they're out. Yep, there you go. 2 auto crossbows and we're done. So the auto crossbow is going to be our primary source of damage for a little bit here. We're going to be a little bit under leveled as opposed to how a casual plays through would be. Thank you RPG Limit Break for the generous host. Welcome everyone. This is another Kefka and Narshe race. We have Sawneyrath versus Riz. At this point, Terra's a little conflicted, and Edgar and everyone is telling her, Edgar and Locke anyway, is going to tell her to move on to speak to the Returners leader. So we're going to go ahead and try and make our way over to the Returners hideout, which is an anti-Empire group. But along the way, we're going to go ahead and fight everything in this cave, because we're going to want to get our party members up to certain levels, so the next party member that joins will be a good enough level so we can use him. He'll be a major damage dealer later on. So luckily for us, the auto crossbow here will take out most of these enemies in one hit, and if it doesn't, which rarely, if we get like a bad damage roll, it won't, but we can just clean that up with Locke or Terra here. Looks good on Swanee's side. Meanwhile, Riz is not too far behind him. He's not currently on step route right now, so things are going to be kind of weird for him. His experience is going to be kind of iffy, touch and go, if you would. So before we get to the end of Mount Colts, before the boss, we're going to want our party members to be at 10, 9, and 8. Edgar being 10, Locke being 9, and Tara being 8. So that our next character will join at a specific level. I believe it is 10. 10 or 11. So looks like Riz is going to have some awkward encounters. Yeah, Swanee is in the lead. Unfortunately, Riz had a little bit of a snafu with Vix and Wedge running away, so he had to take some extra encounters in the cave here. So, as you see here, Swanee's actually walking in a little peculiar way. He's actually walking over some non-encounter tiles, which, jerk NPC, which moves our, it doesn't move our threat counter forward, so it does a little manipulation here. Swanee talking to the poor guy in the line and getting the relic explanation right now. So here we want to make a stop off at this town here to pick up our sprint shoes, which is basically our speed running item. Sprint shoes makes us run really fast on certain map sets, so we're gonna get the sprint shoes. We're gonna change our row here because Mount Colts can be kind of dangerous if all our members are in the front row, and we're gonna jump on a Chocobo over there. We have 2 rows that we can actually set our characters in, front and back row. If you're in the front row, you do more damage, but you take more damage, and if you're in the back row, you take you take less damage, but you also deal less damage. But luckily for us, Edgar with the auto crossbow, it doesn't matter what rows he's in, he'll do the same amount of damage with it either way. But the almighty auto crossbow here isn't really what it needs to be right now because we don't want to fight these brawlers. We can't one-shot them with the auto crossbow, and they don't give a lot of experience, where there's other encounters on Mount Colts that we can take that will give us quite a bit more of experience. But to get ourselves up to the strength we need to get to, we're going to make a minor detour and pick up the Atlas armlet, which increases the character's strength that it is equipped to, and I believe it's going to increase the damage of the auto crossbow by 25%, I believe it is. So, just a quick equip there, and off we go. Swanee looks like he's a bit off step route here. So, taking an unfortunate encounter in the cave. He was actually supposed to have an encounter here, and then as he leaves this cave, he's going to have another encounter here, which is a 4-pack of enemies, which is what we're going to use to boost our experience. So, Tuskers are a little strong, so we're going to want Tara to cast fire on them, and then Edgar to auto crossbow. But to manipulate our experience a little bit, we're going to want Locke to run away from one of these fights. We're going to end up getting 3 of them if we're on step counter. That way we'll have everyone at 10, 9, and 8 respectively. Excuse me. So, once again, the characters that are actually remaining in battle end up with more experience if one runs away. So if Locke runs away, Tara and Edgar will get more experience. Depending on how this works out for both our runners here, as Riz is not on step route, he might have to take a few extra encounters before actually triggering Vargas, where Swanee should be okay. Should be just get to Vargas and fight him. So, here you're seeing the first example of some really trolly enemies. The Trilliums, who can use Bane Touch, will poison our party members. Poison's one of those nasty effects here that will do damage to a party member as long as they're poisoned, and when we walk on the overworld, we take damage per step, so we don't want that. We actually need all our party members alive when we fight Vargas. This part of Mount Colts is a little tricky to navigate, the really tight corners, so movement is actually very important in this game if you want to save time. Swanee getting Terra poisoned here. Gonna take a little pit stop here and cast Antidote from Terra. That's what she got at level 6. But want to be careful about how much magic she ends up using, because we're gonna need magic to fight the next boss that we're coming up to, which is Vargas. Looking pretty good on Swanee's side. We want to try and get these encounters to have the Trilliums not attack or not gain touch. Looks like Swanee got the levels that he needed, so he's just going to go ahead and run away from these encounters and trigger Vargas immediately. Riz is going to have to take one more encounter here to try and get Terra up to level. But meanwhile, Vargas is a pretty simple fight. What we're going to want to do here is we're going to equip, it looks like Swanee already did it, but he's going to equip the Mithril Pike on Edgar and then the Mithril Blade on Locke. Change Locke's row. Use a fire on one of the bears, auto crossbow killing one of the bears, and then another fire on the bear, and then just beat up Vargas with fire, auto crossbow, and attacks. So, a little tech that you can do here is you actually want to try and manipulate Vargas's ATB for a certain attack. Ooh, Terra taking a little bit too much damage there. Gonna have to resurrect her. The experience isn't an issue at this point because Vargas doesn't give any experience. A couple of bosses don't give experience once you beat them, but Terra taking a nap here is unfortunate. We're gonna have to resurrect her for the next part of the game, but looks like Swanee managed to get through all right. And here comes our fourth party member, Sabin. Sabin being an interesting character, he's going to have a special command as well called Blitz, which after putting in certain inputs, so up, down, left, right, X, Y, L, R are the inputs you can put in, you can actually trigger special attacks. In this case, we're going to want to put left, right, left, press A, and that will bring out Pummel, which will end this fight immediately. We could use other blitzes on this fight, but it won't actually trigger the end of the fight, unfortunately. So, we're going to beat up Vargas, Sabin's going to join us, and then we're going to keep on moving over to the Returners' hideout. Looking like Riz got through his fight alright. I believe Terra is still alive on his side, so he won't have to use any time to resurrect her. We're going to need Terra alive because there's no auto heal for the next section. we're gonna need her alive for the river. If Locke had died though, Locke actually gets an auto heal later on, but it's Terra, Edgar, and Sabin we actually need alive for the next section. So Locke is gonna take a dirt nap here. Not the end of the world, but we will need to pick up Terra eventually. So here we go. We're wishing for some good RNG here. There is a known soft lock here if an NPC walks in between this returner and our party and gets stuck on the stairs. We are effectively soft locked, unfortunately, because we have no control over our character when we're following that soldier, which is a little odd in my opinion, but so here we have our guest NPC Bannon. Well, not really an NPC, but guest character Bannon. We don't get to rename him or anything, but he's going to talk about some stuff about Pandora's box, and Terra is going to be our hope, and so on and so forth. So, got some more story coming up here. They're going to try and convince Terra to do, quote-unquote, the right thing. But while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and pick up some important items here. A couple of Phoenix Downs, an Air Lancet to throw at enemies, a True Knight Relic. I believe both players are going to pick up the Antidote as well. So, everything that we pick up here will be very useful for later on in the run. Phoenix Down, True Knight, and the Antidote. Yep. So after triggering everything, we're going to go ahead and talk to Bannon, and he's going to ask us to become his hope. But it's easier to say no to him 3 times. We'll skip a long cutscene, and we'll get a cool relic called the Genji Glove, which is it's a really handy item that will increase our damage by quite a bit. So we won't have to use auto crossbow on Edgar anymore. We'll just equip him with the Genji Glove and 2 weapons, and that will be our new major damage source next to Sabin, who is really strong right now considering the level that he came in at. So we skip a big table cutscene here by saying no to Bannon 3 times, and we found out that the Empire is right on our tail. They took South Figaro, so we're going to try and escape and head back to Narshe to talk to that Esper that we saw earlier on. So Locke leaves our party, so he's no longer with us, which is alright, because when we get back to him, even though he's quote-unquote dead, he'll be alive. But here we're going to go ahead and get this Genji Glove, and we're going to do a little bit of manipulation here to manipulate our next part of the game, which is the river. The river can be pretty hazardous because we don't know what encounters we're going to get here, but we're going to do some manipulation here. Equip Edgar with the Genji Gauntlet, equip Sabin with the Sprint Shoes. Do a save here, reset. Get to the save menu now, reset again, and then go through and wait for the NPC in that same room to be in a very specific position. That way, we will get the minimum number of encounters we can get on the river, which is 2. So we're going to move down here, wait for him to hit that brown thing right there, the brown mat, I guess, and then we're just going to hop on the raft and head down. So Bannon's now in our party, which is what no one wants, because if Bannon dies, unfortunately, it's an automatic game over. And Bannon comes in and he's pretty weak, as you see. He only has 120 HP. I'm not quite sure what Swanee is going to do with Terra, seeing that she is incapacitated, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But it looks like Riz is still hot on his tail, hitting his river as well, and hitting the manipulation. Here, Swanee's going to go ahead and kill both these Petrodons with Egger by himself to get him up to level 11. So he's going to be doing a little bit more damage here. So those are the two encounters that we're going to get on the river. So we're just going to go ahead and smooth sail it all the way down to the boss. Looks like Riz is going to take the level 11 as well here. So here we're just going to want to take a second left. 2 lefts will take us all the way down. Up, I believe, takes you in a circle, as does the first one that takes is a right as well. We're going to switch Edgar to the front row because we're not using auto crossbow anymore, so we're going to be doing actual fighting damage with our weapons. So we're going to need him to move to the front row to do more damage, even though he'll take more damage. So, here comes the good old octopus boss here, Ultros. So without Terra, this fight may be a little bit more hazardous. We'll see what Swanee does here. So, this fight's actually very much like the Welk fight, because with the Welk fight, interesting. So with the Welk fight, what we want to do is we want to trigger a counterattack off of him, so he doesn't actually get a regular AI attack. But because Terra's down and can't cast fire, it complicates things a little bit. So looks like he's going to go ahead and use some health strats here and try and get through. Meanwhile, on Riz's side, it looks like he's going to go ahead and trigger the counterattack, which will delay the AI from doing the delicious morsel attack. But it looks like Swanee got through A-OK there. Very impressive. So, a little bit overzealous of Saban wanting to go fight the octopus here, and he's going to end up getting chucked out of the water, and we're going to go to our next section of the game, which is the scenario selection. So, usually a casual player will just pick whatever scenario they want to use, but in our case, we're going to want to start with the Saban scenario, because at the end of his scenario, one, his scenario is exceptionally long, and two, there's a very important item that we need to buy that will make the other scenarios a little bit safer. Well, not a little bit, a lot of bit safer. So we're going to make a quick stop here and pick up Shadow as well, which is an optional character. So Shadow is one of those interesting characters for this run, because this isn't a full game run. This is Kefka at Narshe. We make our way back to Narshe and fight Kefka again. Spoilers. But Shadow only has like 2 text boxes, so it's not really worth renaming him, so we just leave him as Shadow. So, if you remember those non-encounter tiles that we spoke about earlier on the overworld, it looks like Swanee actually moved over 2 of those encounter tiles. He only needed to walk over 1, so he would not get the encounter in the forest. looks like Riz managed to walk over the wrong tile as well, so he's going to get that encounter in the forest as well. So here we are at the Empire camp. A lot of mashing here, a lot of story here. Empire is fighting with Doma, who gave rise to the Returners, blah blah blah. So enter Kefka again, unfortunately. Guy's a bit of a jerk, likes to yell at his soldiers. Here they are, they're going to do their best to attack this castle right here. Always a fun little thing to watch these soldiers try to climb the walls here. But now we're going to be introduced to our next character, a mustache man, samurai man. Good old sign. Trustworthy. Name him down to C real quick. So he's gonna go out there and show that boss what for. So, but before that, we're gonna equip the sprint shoes on him so he runs around a little bit faster. And we're gonna switch our battle speed back to 1. The fun thing about this fight is we actually want this guy to attack as many times as possible. That way we can trigger an attack off of him because he has the sword tech command. So we're gonna hit number 2 because we have a little bar that we fill up for that, and hit retort, which will one-shot this boss. Sword tech is actually pretty interesting, where once you trigger it, we're waiting for a bar to fill, and depending on what number you're at, determines what attack you'll do. If you're at 1, you'll do dispatch, and if you're at 2, you'll do retort, which is the counter attack. With that, we actually need the boss to attack as many times as possible. And once again, the battle speed only affects the enemy, so we set it to 1 so he'll attack as soon as possible, and we can move on. Here's General Leo, the voice of reason here, and he's got to leave, so I'm gonna leave Kefka to nefarious deeds. He's going to talk to the soldiers something about poison and poisoning the river. No good, no good. So our boys Shadow and Saban is going to try and stop his nefarious plan. So for those who were wondering, we don't actually switch back to ATB here because Kefka, as he is in this form, is actually technically a part of our party. So switching to ATB back, or not the ATB, the battle speed back to 6 to slow down everything doesn't actually affect him. So we can go ahead and take the 2 battles that we have with him, and these battles are ended by just hitting him. And then afterwards, we're gonna switch everything back and move some items around as well. We're gonna take the ninja gear off Shadow and equip it on Saban. Give him a little bit of a boost in strength and speed here. Switch the message speed back. Looking pretty good. Usually you would want to move Saban to the front row to do a little bit more damage as well, but it looks like Swanee didn't take that option here. Yep, remembers now, so he's going to go ahead and roll him. Got a lucky takedown here. Shadow actually has a permanent status effect on him, which is Interceptor. Interceptor will trigger a counterattack automatically, and he gets to save his Air Lancet here. No need to throw it at the Templars. So, for anyone who's played this game, it's time for everyone's favorite drink, which is the purple Kool-Aid. So, this is why you can't leave Kefka alone. He does some pretty terrible things. Once you hear his theme music, typically there's no good could ever come of it. So here they're like, oh well, everyone's getting poisoned. I guess we should protect the king. But as anyone knows, when there's urgent music like this, only bad things can tend to happen. It's looking like our buddy Saiyan and the Doma Sentry is the only person alive here, so they're going to split up and see if they can find any more survivors. Unfortunately, the poison managed to get to Cyan's family as well, so Bible Thump, Cyan's wife and kid. So, Cyan's out for some revenge here. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna switch, save him back to the front row. And here we actually just want to fight these grunts real quick, but we don't have control of Cyan. So what we're gonna want to see out of him is just basic attacks. No dispatches because they take a little bit of time, but not too long. Just want to see regular attacks because all of these guys can be one shot with a basic attack. Fun little note, if you actually run in between Cyan and these soldiers here, they'll knock you out of the way and say, "What are you doing?" So, third fight's a little bit more complicated. We have a cadet and a couple of grunts here, so depending on what Cyan does will kind of dictate what we do as well. What we want Cyan to do is actually just attack the grunt, but unfortunately we didn't get that, so we're going to have to use a little bit of a backup strat here, where we're going to, luckily, Swanee has the Air Lancer, so he can go ahead and chuck that at the cadet here, but it looks like he's opting not to. He's just going to go ahead and attack, and down goes the cadet. That fight, we would want Cyan to attack one of the grunts, and we can aura boat the cadet in one move. So, looks like Shadow on Riz's side is taking a bit of a dirt nap here. Not the worst thing that can happen, but a little bit of a unfortunate circumstance here. Getting a lucky preemptive on the fight though. we're gonna jump in these Magitech armors and see if we can hightail it out of here. Luckily for us, all the enemies that we fight as we're leaving in the Magitech armors will just die in one beam. So we take that opportunity to see if we can switch around some items, make it a little bit more convenient for when we need to use them. Meanwhile, Riz is hot on Swanny's tail right here. I would say they're less than a minute apart at this point. Maybe right at the minute mark. Yeah, about 2 battles apart from each other right now. So we're going to go ahead and hightail it out of here and make our way down to the Phantom Forest. This place could be a little bit of a nuisance if you actually fall off your step route, because there's some pretty nasty encounters in here. As you see, these ghosts here can actually cast fire. Other enemies can stop you, slow you, pincer attacks, and so on and so forth. So being on step route is highly preferable at this point. Yeah, what we really want to see is more of these preemptive attacks and side attacks. Just no pincer attacks, and not really. We don't want to see any attacks off of these guys, because their attacks can do quite a bit of damage. So, interesting note about running in this game. There's certain characters in the game that have different run meters. Like Locke has a run meter that's actually takes less time to fill than others, so he runs away faster. But Cyan actually has a run meter that takes more time to fill, thus he runs away slower. So we're going to go ahead and jump on this train to get away from the Empire. But little unfortunate note about this train, it takes you to the other world, as it is the Phantom train. So we're going to want to, we want to get off this train as soon as possible. So we're going to go ahead and move up to the front car, to the engine, and we're going to see if we can shut it down. So as you see here, Swanny's actually walking around these ghosts. Typically we wouldn't want to, but because we have some extra steps that we need to get rid of, because we want to trigger an encounter before we exit this next train car, we have some extra steps we can use here. But as you see, sometimes these ghosts can just be a big pest. Swanny having the perfect amount of walking around these ghosts to get the encounter with these still goings. We don't want any encounters outside, because we'll get bombs outside the train car, and they can use a pretty nasty attack called Blaze that can one-shot most people in our party. So if we can avoid attacks or encounters outside, we would like to. And if you're not on step route, funny story about that is you can actually get a pincer attack with bombs, which is pretty nasty as well. Looking like Riz is having a little bit better of luck with these ghost NPCs here, managing to just walk right by them. So, still making our way forward on the train. Gonna try and get up to the front, but we're gonna make one stop on the way here. We're actually gonna stop and pick up earrings, which will increase our magic damage. It is a relic that increases our magic damage. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, but Scratch, why would we want to pick up a relic that augments our magic damage? Funny story about Sabin is Pummel and Suplex are two of his attacks that do physical damage, but Oracle actually does magical damage, so equipping the earring on him actually increases the damage of Oracle. So we're gonna want that for later on. Looking like Swanee's actually foregoing the earring though. Making some bold moves with this run, trying to save time here and there. So here we are, we get to the front, and here comes the Phantom Train here. So fun little note about the Phantom Train is he's an undead enemy, so being undead, he's vulnerable to restorative items like potions and Phoenix Down. And if you throw a Phoenix Down on the Phantom Train, as you see here, boom, boss is done. It's looking like Swanee is, he's not messing around here. We're not going to get our train suplex out of him. We'll have to see if we can get one off of, off Riz here. That's pretty harsh, Natara, saying that he's disowned just for not suplexing the train. A little harsh, but, fair enough. But as you see on Riz's side, unfortunately, Riz is gonna get berserked here, so he's not gonna get an opportunity to suplex the train either. Train just not playing around today. So Riz didn't get an opportunity to. If you see, poor Sabin is red and berserked. Evil Toot came up, but Bible thump for Science Family. The Phantom Train came to pick them up, and now they're off to the other world. So, at this point, we're going to come into a little cutscene here. And here we're waiting for Cyan to mourn his family, but while he's mourning his family, we're going to do some not manipulation, we're going to change some stuff around. Oh, he did pick up the earrings, alright, I just ended up missing it. So we're going to change some relics on Sabin, and we're going to set our cursor to be on specific points for later on here. Looking like Swanee's on good step route here. He manages to get through. He manages to get through without any real encounters. So he's gonna go ahead and unequip the shield off Cyan, so we can set up for our Resipos skip here. Little known fact, little glitch in the game anyway. When Cyan dies and he comes back to life and uses retort, he starts countering every physical attack instead of just the ones from enemies. So we're gonna go ahead and use that to trigger a weird little interaction in the game with these piranhas that will actually skip the Resipos fight. So when you actually damage these piranhas with magical and physical, and it's the last piranha on the board and you kill it, the game doesn't really know what to do. So it just says, oh, I guess the fight is over, and end the fight. Down goes Scion. Hits him with the Phoenix down. So we're going to wait for Scion's turn to come up here. Get him to retort. And then use Suplex here. Suplex is going to miss, which counts as our physical damage. And then the retort is going to count as our magical damage. And no boss fight. So here we have our next character that will be joining our party, Ga, the namesake of our tournament. So he does something or another here. I guess he pulls us out of the water. We say hi and he runs away. So all the step manipulation that we've been doing is actually very useful for here, because all the enemies that we encounter on the veldt are enemy formations that we have seen throughout the game. We can only see enemy formations on the veldt that we have seen in the game. So those brawlers we're going to see, the Lobo with the guards, unfortunately, as it was a pincer attack when we saw it, we'll see it as a pincer attack. But with this, we're actually going to manipulate what encounters we're going to get. So when we have a chance to recruit Ga, we're going to do it under the ideal conditions. Because we're going to walk over to Moblitz, pick up the dried meat, get into an encounter, and hope to find Ga. So Ga will actually show up on specific encounters. No back attacks, no pincer attacks can Ga show up. And then he has a 5 in 8 chance to actually showing up. So, with the way we have it routed, we have 2 opportunities to pick up Ga if we don't get him in on our way down to the mountains. So, if all went according to plan, Swanee should be actually having a single ghost encounter, and if Ga doesn't show up on that one, then he should have a single bomb encounter as well. So, Ghost being undead variety, a single potion will take him out, and first try Ga every time. So, feed him the dried meat, and here we go through the long cutscene. So, back to the mashing thing that we were going over earlier. This is one of those battle conversations, so we can just hold A through this section, looking pretty good. But over on Riz's side, he made his way over to Moblitz, no problem here. So he's going to pick up his dried meat and try his hand at getting Ga at first try. Another fun thing about Ga is if one of your party members is dead, he will not show up, so got to keep your party healthy. Single ghost encounter for him as well. So let's see if we can get that first try Ga. And he gets it as well, so we're even up on RNG here. For all you Kappa lovers out there, there's our first Kappa. He's going to go ahead and explain how Ga works. So, Ga is an interesting character. He actually doesn't have the traditional fight command. He actually uses Rage, which is, you select a enemy that from a list that he has, and he goes into a berserk state and uses attacks from those enemies. So he has Rage and Leap, where he comes to the belt, leaps into one of the enemies that is here, and he gets that enemy skill set. So if he really wanted to, we could go ahead and leap into the bomb here, and then we would have to re-recruit Ga, but not really interested in doing that. So that should be the last encounter he gets on the belt, and then he's going to go ahead and move over to the Serpent Trench, which is possibly the most treacherous part of the run here. So, something about a shiny, and if in case anyone forgot, we're still trying to make our way back to Narshe. So as you see, save-in scenario is actually really quite long, but we're coming up to the end of it now. So, Serpent Trench is an interesting place. We're going to get 4 encounters, guaranteed. No manipulation here, but there's some encounters we don't want to see. We don't want to see any pincer attacks. We don't want to see a single angler form. Kappa take 2 indeed. So, where we really want to see preemptives and quick runaways. Because we can't actually stop between battles here to heal up. And if we die, game over, and game overing is bad. So, but a little bit of manipulation that we can do is we get 2 forks in the road. We get to go left or right. So the first one we're going to want to go right, which will take us to a cave and reduce our encounters by 1. So we go to the cave and we just run through real quick. But the second one, we're going to want to take the left. Single anglerform back attack, which is pretty hazardous. Hopefully we can get away. Oh, there's the Aqua Rig. So, this is what I mean by treacherous. A single anglerform, when he's by himself, can use Aqua Rig, and as you see, not really too healthy of a party right now. So, we're hoping for good RNG here. Hopefully he can get away before these guys can attack. Oh God, please run away. Oh, there we go. Whew! Managed to get away. See, as you see, the anglerform back attack is not pleasant for anyone. So, Swanee is in a bit of a bind right here because he still has 2 more encounters to go through. So he's going to make a left here. When you go left, you get an extra encounter. But if you're questioning why we don't go right, if we go right on this next one, or on the one that Swanee just passed, it takes forever to get through the cave, so we just take the extra encounter. So, Swanee's looking pretty good right now. He has 1 more encounter he needs to get away from. But Ga's pretty healthy, so we should be able to get away from this A-OK. Alright. And he survives the Serpent Trench. Everything is looking good. So, the main reason why we come to save-in scenario first is so we can pick up an item called the smoke bombs, which will let us run away from any encounter. that is eligible to be ran away from. So pincer attacks and back attacks, we can instantly run away from them as soon as we use the smoke bomb. So we're going to be using that a lot, almost exclusively through the Terra and the lock scenario. So there you go on Riz's side with an unfortunate pincer attack here. So in order to run away from this, we actually have to clear one side or just clear the entire battle. So things not exactly perfect right now. So here we are. We're going to go to lock scenario, and through a little bit of fun manipulation in the game, we're going to go ahead and pretty much skip lock scenario, to be honest. So might want to keep your eyes open, because if you blink you'll miss it. So equip the sprint shoes, move lock down a spot, and we're gonna walk by this guy, enter the menu, and then click through him and head out. So, and we're done. So the lock scenario is kind of interesting because we're supposed to go and steal some clothes and pick up some general something or another, but yeah, no, we're not gonna bother with that. Good first try lock skip. Looks like Riz is gonna go ahead and pick up the mithril pike here. So we have two options for weapons that we would want to equip on Egger later on. One being the mithril pike that you can buy from this town, and the other one being a rune blade that we can pick up in Terra's scenario. So, here's one of the primary reasons we want to pick up the smoke bomb, because Locke's by himself and he can take a lot of damage real quick here, because he's not known for damage and he's not known for taking damage, so want to just get out of these fights as quick as possible. Also, if we got a pincer attack in this specific one with the gold bear, if Locke was in the first slot, because we switched him down to the second slot, his back would be facing the bear, and the bear can actually just one-shot Locke, so that's no good either. So luckily, no pincer attack for that, so we're just going to go ahead and smoke bomb our way through here. Meanwhile, it's Riz's turn to do the soldier clip. Missed it on the first try, unfortunately. Could be a bit finicky. There we go. So, Swanny's gonna come up to the tunnel armor fight here. So if you notice, Swanny actually made a small detour to pick up a Thunder Rod. So, Thunder Rod is an interesting thing. It's a weapon. But if you use it, it uses the level 2 version of the element of the rod it is. And it also pierces magic, so say goodbye to the tunnel armor. So, end of lock scenario, we're going to go ahead and move on to Terra scenario here. So, we're still on the river. We don't have our river manip anymore, so we're actually hoping for a one encounter river here. We can get anywhere between 1 and 3 encounters because we're not manipulating the river. So, we do have ways of actually manipulating it, but it's not really worth the time to try and manipulate it now, so we just kind of go through the river and hope for the best. Looks like a 3 encounter river for Swanee here. Meanwhile, on Riz's side, gonna go ahead and take down the tunnel armor, easy peasy. Once again, we picked up smoke bombs because we don't want to fight any of these fights and we don't want to take our time running away. And we also still have the condition of if Bannon goes down, then it's game over. So, smoke bombs to the rescue here. Not really much to Terra scenario here. We're going to smoke bomb through these fights and then we're going to end up doing one small little mini game, which is a security checkpoint. We're supposed to do something about following the light. Walk exactly the way the light moved, and yeah, we don't have time for that. Under certain conditions, if we walk in a certain way and press and hold A at a certain point, it will just disable the security checkpoint and we'll be able to move on. So 1, 2, 3, done, and we're off. So we just need to finish up this part, get to good old Arvis's house, and then we can move on to the last stretch of the game. Yeah, he might be off by a smoke bomb, but his encounters have been weird because I believe he fell off step route on his way here. So he may have nope. He's gonna be good on smoke bombs here. Made it to Arvis's house, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit more story, mash through. So we got about 3 minutes or so of mashing through some story right now, and then we're gonna move on to the last part of the game. I like to refer to this this category, Kefka at Narshe, as the full circle, because remember that mini game we played at the beginning of the game? Well, we're gonna finish with the mini game as well. And then that will be the end of our run here. For anyone who's wonders why we're only going up to Kefka, this is a introductory category for new racers who wanna, or new players who would just want to learn Final Fantasy VI, but they don't really want to go through the entire game. This category is roughly like an hour and a half long, opposed to the 3 hours and 4 hours that Final Fantasy VI actually is for a full game run, depending on what category you're running. So this is a good way to get your feet wet and find out if you really enjoy the game. You can finish up the categories, or I mean, even just play this. This category is a lot of fun. While we finish up here, just gonna throw out there that you guys should go ahead and give both these racers a follow. So, if you see here, we have General Kutan here. General Kutan, because we didn't actually pick up Celis, it didn't actually register Celis as a party member, so Celis actually has one of the Mughals in their memory slot, so it comes up as General Kutan instead. So, I'm going to go ahead and march our way up to the mountain, talk about how we're going to protect the Esper, have some weird conversations on the way up there as well. And, yeah, we'll see if we can go ahead and protect this Esper. So, same rules apply. We're going to, instead of protect Terra in this one, we're going to be protecting Bannon. But we're not going to have all the Mughals to protect us. But we're going to take all the party members that we have that do damage and put them in one party and then do 2 separate parties and just have that one party just walk up and beat up Kefka as it were. Oops. Taking the minor tutorial here. Same rules apply once again. We want to walk by these guys when they have their foot up so we don't trigger their encounters. But in this one, we actually have one guard that's going to be sitting at the end that's going to be running back and forth. We're just going to need to time it to walk by him to trigger Kefka. So, we'll hide here, we'll hide there, they'll never see us coming. And we'll go ahead and fight Kefka. Kefka is a fun fight because what we're going to do here is we're going to try and manipulate it so he doesn't really get a third turn. We're going to need him not to attack because on his third turn he has 3 options of what he can do. He can either attack, he can cast Bolt, which Bolt can be cast on one person or multiple people, or he can cast Ice 2 on one person or multiple people as well. If he casts Ice 2 on the entire party, it can get pretty hairy pretty quickly, because that could be a party wipe and just the end of everything. The only person that would survive would be Sabin if he was at full life, but it's looking like Swan is doing alright here. He got the single ice, so Edgar's going to go down, and Swanny's going to go ahead and take out Kefka up here. So Swanny is just done with an official SRL time of 1:28.17. Let's get some GGs in the chat for him. So we're just going to switch over to Riz here while he finishes up now. Looking like Riz is going to finish up pretty strong here. Single bolt, looking pretty good. This should be it. Yep, there it goes. And Riz has finished with a time of 1:29.34. So GG's to both of our runners here. GG's to Swanee for picking up his W. So. If you guys liked what you watch, I would say go ahead and follow both of our runners here. Um, but this is not the end of our races for tonight. We have another race in about 20 minutes. It's going to be Natar versus F. Coughlin. So if you guys would like to watch another race, just stick around for a little bit. We're going to be going. We're going to be playing some music while we wait for our racers to get themselves ready. So just hang out for a little bit, and we'll get this next race underway momentarily. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have another great race for you. This time, we have Natara versus Fred, or F. Coughlin. So, this time around, though, I have a good old partner in crime, ZeroWing211, who's going to be commenting or commentating for us as well. ZeroWing, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So give me 1 second here while I get this race started. Let me make sure that this is on. Hey, we have sound. All right, I'm going. And then we should be getting ready in the next few seconds here. Everything is looking good. All right. I'm going to take care of some back-end stuff real quick, so I'll take it away, Zero.
I shall indeed. Thank you, Dragon. Alright, both runners have begun, and what we're going to do right from the beginning is, after we have this small little chat, we're going to swap our battle speed and our message speed. We want to go as slow as possible in battle to make sure we can get as many hits in as possible. And for our text, we just want to go as fast as we can through it. Now, the first thing we do in this battle is, with both in good ATB, we just use Bio Blast for the delay on the ability, but also to make sure our two soldiers get away. So this is so Terra can get the EXP, and she gets level 5. We're level 5 because of tech missile. Oh, and we just decided to move about trigger scene there because we don't want to get into that battle. This battle with the Lobo, we can't run away from it, and we have to destroy the Lobo to do it. Lobo has a no run flag, so once that enemy's gone, we can have our mystery character Terra take out the last guard, and Wedge and Vix can just run away into the sunset. I was going to say, we want Terra to be level 5 for this coming battle. We want it as many away with a boss. This is for damage output, and it will ensure that the quick kill that we might be able to do is more successful. Now, we just see Fred and Natara coming into this battle with the Fall Mammoths and Guards. Guards don't have the Fall Mammoths have a no run flag, so we have to get rid of them, and then we can have our mystery character Bio Blast the last two guards and have the two Imperials get away for all the glorious XP to our mystery character. Imperials sure do like to run though, don't they? Now we see the Tara and Fred coming up to the mines. If everything is done correctly, if they got set the seed up for their sub route, they should not be getting any encounters at all on this path to the barrier here. It seems both of them have, and it should ensure that they have the river manipulator on. Now, with this battle, we get this chat in the beginning. We don't have to mash A though, we just hold A and just go through it. And hopefully with good ATB, we can get Terra's tech missile off first. If things go badly, we'll get a shot off. Ooh, poor Natara, she got that happen. She might have to do extra weight tricking later in the fight. Basically, weight tricking is we want to stay in our menu for as long as we can during certain moves, and so this prevents enemy ATB from moving forward while we still do our combat maneuvers. So Zardes hit the shell, as did Fred is going to be here soon. This prevents the shell from moving forward. and prevents it from doing its groove status, which pulls its head in the shell from happening. Target's a quick kill, and so does Fred. Very clean battles. Now we see this Esper here. We don't know why it's here, but it's probably left over for some reason from something of some bygone age. And now it wants to have a little chat with us, apparently. But it looks like the girl, our Mr. Girl, wants to talk to it, and she's shimmering a little bit. And it sends Vix and Wedge away someplace. We don't know where exactly yet. We wake up to find this old man wanting to talk to us, and we're all groggy, and we find out that our character had a slave collar on their head, basically robbing them all thought and memory. Now here's the next part of the run that we are going to talk about: the names. We reduce our names to one letter. This is because the text goes across the screen every couple of frames, and reducing letters to one makes the frames lesser, so we save time. In the long run, by the end of the run, we save at least 30 seconds or so. I have to recheck that later.
Alright, I'm back. Did I miss the suplex?
No, you've not missed the suplex.
Well, they're both very fast runners.
Oh, yes indeed. Antara is just crossing this bridge to the mine, so...
Alright.
Yeah.
So, I'm guessing they're both on step route then.
Yes, they are. They both are on step route.
Looking very good. So, just to go over step routing. So we did a little bit of manipulation before we started off these runs here. And, yeah, so we are on seed 244, 245, which, because we're on that specified seed, we know where we're going to get our encounters, which is great, oh goodness, thank you, El Magus, for the 135 viewer host. Welcome everyone to another Kefka at Narshe race. We have Natar versus F. Coughlin here, so hope you guys are comfy coming from his end. And if anyone has any questions, go ahead and throw them out in the chat.
Now, while we're on step route, I'm sorry, I was interrupting you, Scratch Dragon. Basically, we're fighting all these encounters with a multi-target fire. Multi-target fire is quicker, and it's because we want to get to level 6. This is for getting a spell called Antidote, which is an antidote, and to make sure that our next character coming up will be at a certain level.
Yep, so the magic number we're looking for is 6 right here. So Locke will join us at level 7. He'll join us at our average party level plus 1. So we're going to be doing a lot of experience manipulation, so party members will join at certain levels so we can have certain abilities and be at a certain strength so we can fight bosses later on. Little bit of a spill here as Terra is trying to get away from the... I like to refer to them as the Narshe security guards. So, gonna have a little bit of a flashback and a lot of bit of mashing here.
Yes, and we just come into our flashback seeing our antagonist Kefka on the Tara side.
So, yeah, Terra did some pretty nasty things with the slave crown on, so remembering a little bit of that. So, something about Gestalt and Magic Tech armor, ruling the world, etc., etc., etc. Typical RPG, we're gonna go take over the world and make it a better place type of story. Should probably remember that guy on the left. He's a bit of a jerk, right, Zero?
Oh, yes. Quite a jerk.
So, I want to ask, who's this Pokemon? I mean, who's this guy?
He's some treasure hunter, I believe, or archaeologist, something along those lines?
Yeah, treasure hunter. He's got to be a treasure hunter, right? So,
what's that so in his description?
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna take the description for what it's worth. So, in case anyone didn't read it. Did you go over scrolling text boxes already? Actually.
I have.
Okay, so once again, we're just gonna condense his name down. One character. Save ourselves 4 characters per each time he talks. Save a lot of time. Nice and simple. So, gonna be tasking this guy Locke, some treasure hunter named Locke, to go help our girl T out here. So, I didn't know he could fly down from the ceiling. Anyway, finds T.
Don't we have a rope or something?
Yeah, sure. Invisible rope. Everything makes sense. Everything is great in Final Fantasy physics. So, here comes the Narshe security guards to go mess up our day. So, what do you think we're gonna do here?
I think we're going to perform a rescue. It seems like we are, because we have our 2 friendly moguls here.
So, are we gonna play some kind of tower defense game?
Maybe. It doesn't look like so towery. It's more of a 3-part combat system.
3-person combat system. I don't know. Natara looks a little crazy. She's walking forward with 1 person only.
Ooh, but she just skipped somebody with their movements because they were moving forward. Impressive.
Very impressive. So, in case anyone was wondering, we could actually skip these encounters with these guys. Usually we would send up our party members to block off the entrances to save Terra, but if we walk past them in a certain way, we don't trigger their encounters, and we're just going to walk to the boss and beat him up to a jump. Natara getting a very unfortunate net here, which is equivalent to stop. So, as you see, Kupan is not acting, and her ATB is not going up anymore.
But this is not bad, because it's not Mog. Cuckoo goes down.
But we should be alright, but between all of this, what we're going to want to do is, because Mog is actually a character we can recruit later on in the game, we can go ahead and borrow some of his equipment. The other Moogles were not able to take off their equipment, but Mog, we want to take that Mithril Pike and that Mithril Shield. Go ahead and use it on some party members later on. So, a little bit of a time loss here, seeing that Cuckoo is down and Kupan got stopped, but Natara seems to get through this alright. Let's go ahead and take a look how Fred is handling his.
Fred just taking the equipment now, I think. Yep.
Looking
and
good.
He's beat it. I think they're roughly within 5 seconds, maybe 6 seconds of each other.
Sounds about right. So, 13 there. Yep. So the Moogles saved the day, and we're gonna hightail it out of Narshe real quick here. So, I believe we're going down to some castle named Figaro.
Yeah, it's some castle in the middle of a desolate desert. Why somebody would build something there, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you gotta keep the neighbors away, right? I mean, plenty of land to yourself, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and it's quiet.
So, yeah, Locke is gonna talk to Terra here. Say, oh, geez, you have amnesia. All right, we're gonna head down to this castle and we're gonna go talk to the king and see if we can figure out what we need to do.
Now, since we're step routing, we take a very specific path along this on the world map. There are actually certain spots that do not generate a threat. Basically, as we walk, there's a threat generation that occurs. And as I said, there's certain boxes that on the map that do not generate this threat. So we know exactly what the tiles will be. I think Fred missed up there a little bit.
I don't know. I didn't see, but I believe he's on the right steps. We'll see how his second encounter comes up here. Nope, Fred got the encounter that he was supposed to get. So on the way to Figaro, we're going to have only 2 encounters here, and then we're just going to walk the rest of the way with no encounters. So it looks like Fred is he's in good shape so far. So, cue some of the best music in the game, in my opinion. Here, we're gonna go ahead and walk up to this king here. Any redeeming or noteworthy attributes about this guy? Maybe he's a good king. He's a kind king. He's a
lecher. The only thing good is his combat skills.
Lecher is such a strong word. I prefer the word flirt.
That could be room to say that's the better word to use.
Yep. So, Natara doing her signature rename here. Not going to name him E, going to name him B. See if anyone from the chat can figure that out, why she names him B later on. Well, I realized just now that Fred actually named Terra Natara.
Yes, I noticed that. That's pretty interesting.
Or did he name Locke Natara? Oh, he named Locke Natara. Okay.
Basically, after we talk to this king, we're gonna go talk to somebody else, importantly. But, yeah, this castle is kind of cutscene heavy. And, yeah, I am surprised that Fred went to naming Locke Natara. That's for her, because why not?
Fred just wants to confuse everyone, in my opinion. Also, Natara isn't a thief, she is a treasure hunter, so, I mean, everything makes sense.
Indeed, everything does make sense.
The world is in perfect alignment. Speaking of perfect alignment, it looks like we want some good movement in the castle while we go talk to the matron here and have our quick little flashback. Good old younger twin here. His name kind of escapes me. His name is S, right? Save it? S?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Ah, yes. My favorite character in the game.
As it should be, since he is one of our main damage dealers.
Yep, but we will cover him a little bit later. So we triggered this. We got our little flashback. So we're going to go back and talk to the king. And we're going to move forward. The castle isn't really overly interesting. We just got to try and move to the best of our ability. Maybe hope that the Chancellor doesn't get in our way when we go back to talk to the king. Natara looks like she gets by the
Oh, and Fred gets stopped by the king. Ooh.
Oh, the Chancellor, that guy's a jerk. But here comes a really big jerk.
The biggest jerk in all the series.
Yep. Something about sand on his boots, calling people idiots, and a notable laugh.
Yes, a very noticeable laugh, one that can't be forgotten and etches in our mind.
Mm-hmm. The most noteworthy laugh of all Final Fantasy. If anyone wants to argue with me, come and fight me. I want someone to give me an example. Anyone can give me an example. Minus Titus. I'm gonna put that out there.
Now, in order to move the scene along, we have to talk to these two Imperials, and we talk to Kefka. Oh, Itara got the starring contest!
Yep, so just a quick explanation for anyone who's curious out there. The staring contest is how we have the two soldiers talking to each other. If you look at Fred's screen, there's one just looking forward. So, if you hold A while you come up to an NPC, you will talk to that NPC at the first frame available when you walk into range of them. So if you actually hold A between those soldiers, they will stay in that facing position with each other, and it actually saves a couple of frames right there. So gonna go ahead and tell Kefka she ain't here, and he's gonna leave, and we're gonna go ahead and walk Terra over to her room. So, nothing bad can happen. We're just gonna take a good night's rest and figure out what to do in the morning. So everything's hunky-dory. We fooled the Empire. Everything will be great. Happy ending.
Nothing can go wrong, as you said.
Oh, of course not. Nothing goes wrong in video games. Everything goes exactly as planned. As planned. Cue the ominous music. Actually, it's actually kind of curious. He has a fire in his the fireplace over there, but he notices something's wrong outside. How do you figure?
I don't know. Maybe he does it from the smell or the yells or something, and maybe just because the heat from these burning stones on the castle.
Maybe. So
now we don't have to talk to Kefka here. We just have to talk to this guy to trigger the next part of the story.
Yeah, some random soldier. So we're gonna go ahead and save our castle, right?
Doesn't look like we might. We're running away.
Well, running away is saving the castle, right?
I don't know. I mean, running away and saving the castle are two different things, aren't they?
Not in this case, because good old Edgar here, as much as a flirt that he is, he's also he's got a PhD in machinery, good old engineering, as it were. So yeah, he turned his castle into a submarine, a sand submarine, but a submarine nonetheless.
So say goodbye to the castle, guys. We're not gonna see this again in this run.
Bye, castle. So Kefka's gonna go ahead and he's gonna sick the Magitech armors at us, but here we're gonna find out a cool little thing about the game, which is each party member has a individualized command that they can use. As we see, Locke uses, they couldn't fit treasure hunt, so they put steel in there. Terra could use magic, but Edgar uses tools, and tools he comes with auto crossbow, which is going to be our major source of damage that we do. And yep, you saw it. Natara made BLT. So auto crossbow is an interesting ability because it does the same amount of damage whether you're in the front row or in the back row. And when you get back attack, it switches your row. So using the auto crossbow is the most efficient way of dealing with the Magitech armors.
Yeah, it's unblockable, non-elemental damage. It doesn't split as well.
Yep. So just
also.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Basically, we could have used Terra's magic in that scene, but because but if we did, we triggered a 40-second cutscene for them going on about it, and we don't want that.
Nope, waste time. But just as a note with the front and back row thing, if we're in the front row, we do more damage, but we also take more physical damage, and if we're in the back row, we take less damage, but we also deal less damage. This obviously doesn't apply to magic and certain ranged weapons like boomerangs and such, but everything else it applies to.
Nor does it apply to certain skills like saying Sortex.
Correct, and Aurabolt and so on and so forth. So here we're gonna go ahead and say, well, we need to move Terra over to the Returners, go talk to Bannon, such and such, blah blah blah. So we're gonna go ahead and walk through this cave and try and get over to the Returners' hideout.
Yeah, and while we're in this cave, we want to take some encounters, but we do not want to take the two Hornet encounter by themselves. Also, it should be noted that at the lowest rolls of the crossbow, the Learys will not be destroyed. They have like 1 to 2 HP left, so we will queue up some attacks with Locke and Terra.
Yep. So we're gonna want to take these encounters here to just try and bolster up our experience a little bit. By the time we finish with our next section in the boss, we want to have Edgar be level 10, Locke be level 9 and Terra be level 8. So our next party member will join at level 10, I believe. 10 or 11?
7 will join at level 11.
Yes, level 11 because it's the average party plus 1. So we're just going to take all these encounters in this cave here. Easy peasy. So we also need a little bit of gold as well because as you see here, we're going to take a pit stop after this town. If you notice that we're walking in a very funny way, this is to cover the no encounter tiles that Zero was talking about earlier, but we want to stop off at this relic shop to pick up our speed running item known as the sprint shoes.
This will double our speed, but also can make running about a little bit harder. As you also see, we're going to switch everyone's roads to the back row, which is for obvious reasons to take less damage on our next area.
Yep, Mount Colts is a bit of a nuisance, so... Yep, menuing is very important. If you actually want to get some really good times in RPG running, menuing is actually very important along with movement and actual control of everything. So as much as RPGs seem like, well, I'm just making small decisions and just fighting, menuing is super important, knowing when to menu, knowing where everything is going to be. So, yeah.
So after we run into this rude guy gives a chocobo, we want to not take any encounters in these caves. We just want to run away from everything in the caves. Outside, we'll take any encounter we can get.
Yep. These brawlers don't give a lot of experience, and currently Edgar isn't strong enough with the auto crossbow to one-shot these brawlers. But we'll fix that in a second because we're gonna make a quick pit stop to pick up the Atlas armlet.
Atlas armlet, I do believe, increases physical damage by 50%, right?
I believe so. It overall increases the damage of auto crossbow by 25%, I believe. But
that sounds more about right.
The strength increase may still be 50%, but it's just an overall damage increase. So don't quote me on those numbers just yet. Lucky pincer or side attack for Mitara.
Indeed, and she's changing her equipment during it too.
Very good.
Now, these encounters you see with Fred, the Cypresses and the Tusker, they're perfectly for what we need. But the Tuskers don't die in one hit, so we use fire on them. And hopefully Locke will run away. Which he does.
Yep. Good.
Oh, we gotta talk about run gauges here. Locke being a treasure hunter, he has the shortest run gauge, so he can run away with ease. Everybody else has various other sized run gauges, and later on down the road, our character site and that we get has the longest run gauge. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, Locke is a treasure hunter, so he's got to run down to town and sell that stuff. But so yeah, he has a shorter run gauge. Some characters have longer run gauges. The run gauge is actually a hidden feature of each of the characters. We don't get to see it. So the two conditions to running away in the game is having a full ATB bar and filling the run gauge. So we could run away with individual characters if their run gauge is filled and their ATB is filled as well. So some more experience manipulation to get our characters to the levels we would like them to be at. So, because we also know what encounters we're going to get these 4-packs here. And what we really want is we actually want to fight all the 4-packs because they give the most experience on the mountain. And then we're with the way we have experience routed, we just need Locke to run away from one of those 4-packs, which we get 3 of them on the way down to the next boss.
Now, this other monster we see on the screen, the Trillium. The reason we picked Terra at level 6 to begin with is because of her antidote. These things can poison us if we get unlucky, and we see on the Terra side right now.
Good old jerks. So, poison's one of those unfortunate status effects that it ticks damage while you're in battle, but the more unfortunate part of it is while you're walking, for each step that you take, you also take damage, so we can't really afford to take all that much damage while walking down to the boss.
Plus, we get a really blurry screen, and it makes almost anything impossible to see. Inflicting a very unfortunate side attack for himself.
Yep, so, because Fred managed to get the extra runaway with Locke, we have a 2-battle buffer for these Trilliums that we don't need to fight on our way down. And if we get a side attack or a preemptive attack, we can go ahead and just run away from it because they're easier to run away from. But we just have to make sure we fight the 2 Trillium fights. Things are looking pretty good on Fred's side. This should be the last fight to get his levels to 10, 9, 8.
Looks like he has them.
Yep, and right on Vargas. So, just some bully that's been following us around on the mountain saying blah blah blah, and you're unlucky you ran into me, and then we fight with his 2 Apple certified Ipus.
Yeah, and the strategy here for this one is just auto crossbow, fire, row lock, and just hold A.
Yep. So at the beginning of the game, we set the thing our settings to memory, so it will actually keep the indicator on the last command that we did. So all we have to do is hold A once we get fire, auto crossbow, and attacking going, and we can knock out Vargas. A little advanced tech that we can do here as well is we can try and manipulate Vargas's ATB for a little scene that comes up later, so we can skip a move that he used called Doomfist.
Ooh, and he lost his lock. For that's going to cost him a little bit of damage, but it's probably not going to affect him in the long run.
Yep, so...
Nitara just entering Vargas now.
Yep, so Locke falling down here isn't the biggest of all deals. We just don't want Edgar or Terra actually being wounded or being killed in this fight, because we're going to need them for later.
Now, what is Vargas all on about? He just seems very upset about something.
Something about inheriting a dojo or something of that nature. Sabin, blah 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 blah. So they're gonna fight to the death here. Sabin, being the cool guy that he is, has the ability called Blitz, where if you put in certain commands, he'll do special moves. Like in this case, as you see, Fred is doing Pummel. He has to go down to Blitz, press left, right, left, and then A, and then he'll do Pummel.
Also, should be noted that there is a little bit of a glitch with it if you press A and down too fast with it.
Ah, yes. If you press A and down, or A and up for that matter, if you're coming from the item or the fight menu too quickly, it will actually register your up as a input, which is pretty bad when you actually have to put in specific inputs for moves. So, yeah. So you can avoid that by waiting like a hair, but when we're trying to go fast, sometimes you don't remember. But down goes Vargas with 1 pummel. We take out Vargas, we're going to have Sabin join our crew, and we're going to make our way over to the returners. Just as an extra note here, we do have access to some other blitzes that we can use, but only Pummel will actually end that fight.
At level 11, we have Suplex and Orbolt as well.
Yep.
Correct?
Correct. So, a little bit more funny walking coming up to the returners hideout. We want to hit those no encounter tiles as we walk up there. So we should only get 1 fight on the way to the returners hideout.
Let's see if Fred saves outside the hideout or not.
I wouldn't imagine that he would. It's very unlikely that he'll get the soft lock. If you want to go ahead and explain that for our viewers.
Basically, since it's already happened in the tournament once already, the returner there on the far right can be in front of the stairs, and if he's in the right position, he can block you from going forward, and that will just soft lock the game. So you have to reset. And if you didn't save outside, you could lose upwards of 30 minutes plus of gameplay. So, unfortunately, it has happened once in this tournament, and that runner did have to reset fully. So, we're coming up to talking to this guy named Ben, and he's talking about some box and evil getting out and something being kept inside. It happened to Nit's guy.
Something hope, blah 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 blah. Something hope, blah 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 blah. Let's have Tara make the decision. But meanwhile, while she's making that decision, let's go ahead and loot the Returner's hideout. There's a lot of stuff that we're gonna need here.
Oh yes, there's much in the way of loot that we need to get here in order for us to survive later on.
Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and walk around, pick up some treasure chests here and there. The items that we'll pick up from treasure chest, or buckets in this case, will be we're going to pick up 2 Phoenix Downs for resurrection. We're going to pick up a Air Lancet for throwing at people's face. A True Knight Relic, which will come in handy for a skip that we're going to do later. And a Antidote, which may or may not be used later.
Safety Antidote, pretty much. That will be used in a certain scenario later down the road.
Yep. So.
Now, after all this, we need to go talk to Bannon, and we don't want to join him, so we're just gonna say no 3 times. Unfortunately, it doesn't get the point that we just don't want to join him.
Right, but we also don't want that cutscene that we get if we say yes to him. It's just all sorts of nasty. And we don't want that gauntlet either. That item is,
That gauntlet is so broken. It's like, it shouldn't be there. Why? But we want this really nice Genji glove, which is broken, but in a good way.
Right, so the gauntlet is broken in a bad way, where you don't do the extra damage, and the Genji glove is broken in the good way, where we do extra damage. So we're going to go ahead and take that broken with the extra damage. Meanwhile, Natara getting trolled by this NPC while trying to pick up her treasure chest. But looks like the Empire's hot on their tails, and they found a returner. So I think it's time to get out of Dodge City and figure out what to do.
Yep. Seems like Locke is being sent off on some spy mission to the town we were just in?
Yep. We're going to try and head back to Narshe and go talk to that Esper we saw at the beginning of the game now. So. Nitz unfortunately got that soft lock, Ben, with at the Returner's hideout, which was fairly unfortunate. Very rare, fairly unfortunate. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and do some stuff before we get on the river. We're going to move some people around. We're going to equip some relics. And we're going to manipulate the river a little bit by resetting and setting up for the NPC to be in a specific space. So we only get the minimum amount of encounters on the river as possible. The river can be pretty hazardous if we don't know what encounters we're going to get. And now that we have Bannon, who is he's a joy and a pleasure to be on our
He's
team.
a squishy man.
He's a very squishy man. And if he goes down, we automatically game over. So. Looks like Fred ended up jumping the gun walking out of the room so he couldn't get the NPC manipulation.
Looks like he tried again now.
Yep, so he's going to go a little weird going down the river. He may end up getting more than 2 encounters here.
Yeah, basically the first 2 encounters that are on the river are fixed. Any encounters after that are all based on the seed and where that NPC was. We also always want to go left.
Yeah. Straight is for craziness and right is for people who like to go in circles, so.
Tara's starting her manipulation now.
So let's see if Fred gets any extra encounters here.
He seems to be doing pretty well so far.
Looking good. The other thing that makes the river very treacherous is the fact that you can't just enter the menu when you're on the raft. So if Bannon's at low life and he enters a battle, sometimes there's just nothing you could do, so you could just get blown up by an enemy and automatic game over.
targeting a very fortunate preempted there.
Yep. She's gonna make her left turn here.
Now, the reason we want to fight the Petrodons here is because we want Edgar at level 11. So we need to have the other three run away while he gets all the EXP. Which is around 900 EXP. Which is pretty good for a single character at this stage of the game.
Yep. Meanwhile, Fred actually skipped the Petrodon fights here, so he's going to go ahead and try and buck this up at level 10 for Edgar. But here comes everyone's favorite octopus, Mr. Ultros. Say hello to Mr. Ultros, everybody. So, this fight's similar to the Welk fight, where we're going to want to trigger a counterattack out of him at the same time that his ATB is full to overwrite the command that he would put in. So we're going to try and manipulate a little bit and try and get this fire off at a very specific point.
If things go well, we will avoid that word trigger box, and we'll be able to probably delay a little bit of the second trigger as well, I would think, but
yep.
It's also a very tight window to get it done as well.
Yep, if we are lucky, we will never see him attack a third time. It looks like Fred is actually opting to go with pure fire strats here, so he's going to get a second counter attack, but he's going to blaze through this fight very quickly. And down goes Ultros. Alright.
Yep, and Natara's just starting hers.
Well, getting a very lucky crit off her Edgar.
Yes, very lucky.
So, unfortunately, Sabin, being a little overzealous, decides to jump into the water to fight an octopus. That seems like a great idea, and is going to get separated from the party. So now we have three different parties here. Sabin separated and Locke is separated. So we're going to have the 3 scenario section where we get to pick which one we want to use, and we're going to go ahead and take the Sabin scenario.
Tara unfortunately missed preventing the trigger, and she lost her Terra as well. So right. that's gonna make things a little more difficult on her end.
Yep, she's probably gonna want to play this a little bit safer.
Now here on Fred's side, we see this character that we saw entering South Figaro. What are we gonna do with him?
We're going to borrow his stuff and leave his name alone.
Ooh, Natara, this white.
No, husbando, why would you do that?
Well, at least she saved that right before the battle.
Yep, Natara is she is an advocate of the safety save. So things can go wrong in this run very easily, as you see there. So Natara luckily has a save there, so she's not completely out of this race right now. Back to Fred's side, where we're doing the Sabin scenario first. We're going to go ahead and do Sabin scenario for a couple of reasons. One is it is the longest scenario out of all of them. 2, it becomes very helpful for the other scenarios because we get access to a certain item at the end of it. And 3, we just want to get this long scenario out of the way.
Yeah, it can. The middle part of the scenario can be very annoying and very painful.
Yep. Ooh, Terra going down again.
Now, this area that Fred's in is cutscene heavy. Camp cutscene, as some players call it. And so we basically do a lot of talking, a little bit of movement, a lot more talking, more movement. Maybe some battles mixed in between.
We're gonna end up watching these Empire soldiers. That's what they are. They are from the Empire soldiers. We're gonna watch them go ahead and take on the Kingdom of Doma here. Meanwhile, over on Natara's side, it looks like she got through Ultros. There we go. But we're gonna meet a very special character. Mr. Mustache Man.
Or Mr. Thou, as he likes to be called.
Mr. Thou? I love Mr. Thou. Oh, we're gonna get a full rename here on Fred's side. Gotta rename it as Mr. Thou. So, yes, we still have plenty of time, plenty of race left. Natalia is not out of this by any means whatsoever. A lot of things could still go wrong. She could actually really still catch up. It looks pretty bad for her right now, but she still has plenty of opportunities to catch up, depending on how it goes for Fred and his luck.
Now, as you saw, Fred changed his battle speed to 1, and we put Cyan here. Basically, for 1, it affects all enemies. So, the faster this battle goes with the enemy, the faster we can do a retort and get out of it.
Yep.
And you get the black belt, which is nice.
Yep. So, what is gotta name Shadow Fred. Good old Natara. So, yeah, once again, battle speed only really affects the enemies. So, we set it to 1 to speed them up. Here we're going to see the voice of reason here, Mr. Wow, his name is escaping me right now. Mr. Leo. There
Leo?
Yeah, General Leo. The voice of reason is going to get called back to the Empire, but we know Kefka's here, and when Kefka's left alone, all sorts of bad things happen.
Things go missing, people start going nuts, and maybe something falls into the river.
Yeah, as Ben is pointing out there, from the leader fight, we actually have I believe it's 7 out of 8 chance of getting the black belt, which is the preferred item to get, but every 1 out of 8 times, we'll get the Phoenix down, which is not really, it's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's not the best, because we'd rather have the black belt to sell later on.
Yeah, indeed. But it does give us a little bit more of opportunity to save someone if we die. And now, this is something important. Kefka is actually in our party at this point. So, changing the battle speed back down to 6 wouldn't have done anything. That's why we keep it at 1 for this small section.
Oh, we're having a call. It looks like some of our chat is a bit thirsty here. You think Kefka's going to be able to help them out?
I'm sure they will be able to get some help from Kefka.
But luckily for us, we can go ahead and we can knock Kefka and tell him, yo, waiter. Well, does he look like a waiter? We only have to hit him once to move forward, so.
He looks like a waiter in some ways, because that outfit.
Yep, so here we're not fighting Kefka anymore, so we're gonna do some switching around here. We're gonna switch back our battle speed, move some equipment around, because we want the ninja gear on Sabin, because it's much better on him. And we're gonna be keeping him for the long haul, which is nice.
Now we're just going to fight these guys. The first row of soldiers to fight normally. They all have a chance to counter, and countering can hurt really badly. Templars, on the other hand, we can just do our special moves and deal with them in that manner.
Meanwhile, it looks like Natara's getting her retort on over there.
And she gets black belt too.
Very nice. So, it's that time. So, you remember those Sunny D commercials from back in the day where you would go, we got some soda, some purple stuff, some Sunny D. Yeah, this is why they didn't want the purple stuff. Oh wow, that's tripping me up a little bit. That he goes, "Sir, Mr. Thou." So
that's kind of funny, actually.
Right? So it looks like the purple stuff is actually poison. Go figure. So no, that's no good. It looks like it's the end of the Kingdom of Doma. It just goes to show you, kids, don't drink the purple stuff.
Don't drink strange colored liquid, guys. Never do it again.
Well, at least not out of a river, anyway.
Oh yes, not out of a river. Now we're gonna have a little bit of movement ability, but not for long. This needs to go faster with the sprint shoes on, just to cover more spaces in less time. So, yeah, we're gonna be forced into the king's room and have a nice little conversation with this dying man.
Poor king. Poor king. So, more stuff happening. Kingdom of Doma got poisoned. Man. Well, what's a man to do? Well, he's got to. I guess we're gonna have to go search for survivors, right?
Yes, and I think Cyan has something else to search for too.
Oh, hopefully survivors. But
yes, survivors, and unfortunately, something else. His wife.
Well, they're not on the survivors list. It looks like it's just Cyan in that Doma Sentry. So, at this point, he reacts as any level-headed person would, and he's gonna go attack the Empire camp.
Are we sure that's level-headed?
Oh, it's pretty level-headed. I mean, he does have the strength of 100 men.
And I would think a level-headed person would want to talk normally, not go on a rampage. But what do I know?
Rampage, talking normally, sounds like the same thing.
It could be thinking the same thing. Now, in this battle, we hopefully won't get any attacks from Cyan that are of a dispatch nature. That wastes time. And we get a Wild Fang from Shadow, which is also nice.
Yeah, Wild Fang is one of those status effects that's on Shadow, and it's only on. Well, actually, no, I don't know if it's on anyone else.
I think it's only a Shadow thing. I'll have to look that up later, but
well,
yeah, it basically Interceptor will counterattack at certain points, and you'll do massive damage, but you can't attack flying enemies.
So, here in this fight, we're actually just hoping that Cyan will attack the grunts here, because he can one-shot the grunts, and then we can have Sabin or both the cadet to one-shot him. Nice and easy, easy peasy. Oh, got a low damage roll on the Aura Bolt there, but Cyan manages to clean it up very nicely.
No fuss, no muss there. And now we're about to enter into our little next section of the game that deals another great status effect.
Yep.
The Magitech armor.
Yep, little known fact that the Magitech armors are actually status effects. We actually needed it to be a status effect, and this is also the reason why Kefka is technically part of our party when he's in that form in battle, because this was the only way we could get him into a Magitech armor at the beginning of the game, or at least the programmers anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and take these Magitech armors and ride our way out to freedom.
Ooh, nice preemptive side attack for Fred.
Yep. Luckily for us, all these fights that we're going to be coming up to will just, they only take one beam to finish up. So during this time, we're going to take some time, usually, anyway, to reorganize our inventory. An unfortunate back attack there.
Looks like we gained rainbow beams this time around from Fred.
Yep, rainbow beams don't do extra damage or saves any frames. It's just nice, a little thing to keep us amused while we're getting through the end of the Empire camp here.
Start entering her Cyan Gauntlet now. Also, something we did not mention, you want to talk to Cyan from the front or the side? Not from the front, the back or the side. Because talking from the front will make you take damage and you will get kicked out of the way.
Interceptor with a nice counterattack on the Tara side here. Meanwhile, it looks like Fred is cleaning up the rest of his Doma Gauntlet.
So where do you think we're gonna go from here?
Well, we gotta get away from the Empire, so I'm gonna guess we're gonna run around and we're gonna head south.
South? Isn't there a forest down there?
Yeah, but it's a magical friendly forest, right?
I'm not so sure. I've heard there's ghosts in here.
Ah, imagination. Does that look like an angry ghost to you?
It looks like a very devious ghost.
Well,
Just doesn't look like a friendly one.
well, you're pretty right there because this forest is very unfriendly with encounters because there's a lot of things that can do a lot of damage to you. Ghosts can do damage to you by casting fire, as you see here. Does quite a bit. 64 is no chump change of damage, and there's just a lot of hazardous encounters that we can get here. But once we're through the forest, we should be all right?
One would think we would be.
Yep, it's just the forest we have to worry about, and once we're done, we're out of here. We'll make our way to Narshe because, in case anyone had forgotten, that's where we're still trying to get to, and everything will be okay.
What's this? Looks like a train of some kind?
Yeah, it's the train that will take us straight to Narshe, right?
It should. One would think we would go right to Narshe with this.
Well, we need to get on the train anyway to get away from the Empire, so on we go. So, did I fail to mention by Narshe I meant the afterlife?
No, you did not.
Well,
It seems like we are going to the afterlife for this thing. Oh well.
alright, game over, boys. Let's go home. Pack it up.
It doesn't seem like Seven wants to do that. It looks like he wants to stop this train.
But all joking aside here, with the Phantom train, we're gonna try and avoid some very unfortunate encounters like these. We would like to avoid these back attacks, but with the step manipulation that we've done, so we're gonna take we're gonna try and walk around these NPCs because we don't want to come off our step route too much because we're gonna force an encounter here because we don't want to take encounters outside. They are very bad, very bad. Bombs are bad.
Yeah, bombs are known to do blaze, and they can do single target of over 200 damage, and multi-target they do around 150. They can decimate your party pretty badly.
Right, so we want to avoid bombs, and we're also trying to set up for our next area, the Veld, as well. So, misstepping here is a little bit more ill-advised, so to speak. So, as you see here, poor Cyan getting fired to death.
It's unfortunate, but at least the chance Fred can still pull this out without much worry. Except he won't be able to re-equip Cyan for a much later thing that he needs to do.
Yep, but well, I'm sure Fred knows the backup, so we'll be able to get to that. Meanwhile, Natara is entering the forest now, hot on Fred's tail.
Yep. And hopefully she'll be able to find a way to catch up with ease. Now, we're gonna start looking like we're gonna jump over these trains. Looks like Seven did do leg day.
Oh, Sabin never skips leg day. That's why you can Naruto run across these train tops. But apparently so can these ghosts, because look at that, just on top of the train like that, like they're following Sabin. What a bunch of... They're special.
Yep, and that switch, unfortunately for us, gets rid of some of the cars, so we're now home free. What's this? Again, this switch does something else. But how?
All-purpose switch. Every train has it. Don't your trains have it?
Not that I know of.
Ah, well, I mean, my trains have those. Every train that takes me to the afterlife has one of those all-purpose switches.
I think every car would have one, but only this one does.
Yep.
Must be a special car.
At this point, as you see, Fred is at the mercy of these NPCs here, so he has to wait for them to move out of the way, because if he comes off the step route, a lot of things can go wrong in the Veld.
Yeah, basically we already know what encounters we're going to get in the Velt, and if something goes wrong, the encounters will be changed. Yep. Pretty much.
But meanwhile, we have to make a quick stop to pick up the earrings here. Earrings increase magic damage, and I know what you guys are thinking. With increasing magic damage, how does that help us? Well, Sabin's blitzes, the pummel and the suplex are physical damage attacks, but Aura Bolt is actually magic damage, so we'll actually equip the earring on Sabin to do extra damage with Aura Bolt. Ooh, it looked like Fred took a couple extra steps here, so his step route
I've counted he's taken at least 2 extra steps there.
Yep.
At some point.
So his step route's going to be off, so his belt is going to be slightly different, but just a little bit slower, not the end of the world, so to speak.
Now, here we are with Phantom Train. If he's able to do it right, and he doesn't get evil tooted, he can maybe suplex the train, which he's doing. And then afterwards, he'll just use the Phoenix down and kill it.
Yep. Undead enemies in this game are susceptible to restorative items, and Phoenix down just automatically outright kills undead enemies. So there goes the Phantom Train. Also, suplex hype. And the train goes down. So, we took care of the Phantom Train. Everything is right so far. We're gonna get out of here okay, right?
Looks like we are, but who knows what's waiting for us on the platform. Also, Natar. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Is that the same platform we got on at, or is that a different platform we're getting off at? It always confused me.
I don't know. It could maybe it's the same one. It could be a different one. Who knows?
Who knows? But remember how this train takes takes everyone to the afterlife? Well, it's gonna pick up 2 unfortunate acquaintances of poor Cyan here. So, a little bit of Bible thump out for Cyan's wife and kid there.
Natara, should be mentioned, is about halfway through the train, and she's doing alright, it seems.
Minus this one ghost right here. Holy, move out of the way, ghost.
That's one rude ghost. I haven't seen something like that in a while.
What a jerk.
Yep, very jerkly.
So, here we're gonna have the morning scene for poor Cyan, but luckily for us, we get a little chance to switch some items around and equip some relics and set up for a special little trick that we'll use for the next boss here.
Now we have about a minute time between the beginning of the scene and the end of the morning scene to do this. Now, if everything goes right and Fred didn't go off, he should not be getting any encounters, but he has. It's the Crass Hopper encounters, which can berserk you.
Yep, which is not it's not one of those things that matters right now, but once we get down to the belt, it's something that could come into play for when we're looking for Gao, the namesake of our wonderful tournament that we have going on here. So, the Tar coming up to the train. Let's see if we get a suplex from her.
He attempted it.
Evil 2? Okay, it's just the cool guy sunglasses there, but Fred is coming down to the Razor Pass fight. If you want to go ahead and explain that, please.
Yeah, I will. Basically, during this entire battle, we want to kill Cyan, pretty much, and we want to kill one of those piranhas. So after we do that, we take out Cyan, we revive him with the Phoenix down. And because of this, we can revive him back, put him into a retort, and basically we're going to suplex the fish. Link gets confused, and Cyan will wig out and retort the piranha, and that will end the battle. This is actually a variation on the Psycho Cyan glitch from this game.
Yep, so just a little more detail on that. It's the game, when you have this transition here, it should spawn more fish or the boss once you actually kill this last piranha. But when you do physical damage and magical damage at the same time, it confuses the game and just ends the battle. So funny story about retort is actually magical damage, while suplex is physical damage, and the suplex will always miss against the piranha. So even though we miss, it still counts as the physical damage being done. So, looks like Fred had no problem with that, and here comes, well, the wild child, our namesake of our tournament, Gao.
Now you would think with Gao's name, his name is short enough, right?
Nope.
Well, yeah, you're right, it's not short enough, so we're just gonna name it, replace it with the G. Basically, his name comes up so often in text that it's easier just to have G.
Yep.
So after healing up, we're going to walk along the veldt, and since the tiny bit of mishap with the grasshoppers, we will get an intent compact later on, but right now we know what compacts we're going to get.
Yep, so unfortunately, these encounters are going to be slightly different than what we want them to be, but we're just going to go ahead and take them as they are and get over to Moblitz and pick up the dried meat so we can pick up Gao, but it's just going to take us, it's going to be a little bit of a time loss, which will give Natara a chance to catch up here. I did not see if she misstepped on the train, but
I don't know if she did or not.
I did not see her get grasshoppers either, so I'm just going to, we'll have to wait and see if she's actually still on step route. Looks like Fred got to Moblitz alright. He's just going to go ahead and buy that dried meat. And then head right back out. So, Gao's a funny little interaction in the game. So, the way that works out is Gao, on any eligible battle, he has a 5 in 8 chance of showing up. But he will not show up if it is a pincer attack. He will not show up if it's certain enemy formations. And he will not show up if any of your party members are dead. So, we're looking to have Gao show up here. So, this is why we don't want to get this encounter, because if one of our members gets berserk, we actually have to wait for an entire cycle, because if you attack Gao while he shows up, he'll just run away, and we don't want him running away. We need to catch him. Over on Natara's side here, looks like she's going to get the Reason Pass skip pretty well. Looks good. So, it's routed into the run here that we would get 2 encounters before the Crescent Mountain, and it looks like Fred is going to get trolled a little bit by Gao here. So he's going to have
to this is the most unfortunate RNG luck they can have.
Yep, so he's going to have to take an extra encounter here, or a couple extra encounters, to see if he can get him. Oh, a single bomb. Oh, that's actually pretty nice. See if he gets Gao after this fight. There
he does.
Go. First try every time. So, throw this dried meat on Gao, and trigger this long cutscene of something about Mr. Zhao, shiny, 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 fight me, Crescent Mountain, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and we just hold A at this point. This cutscene's of what, roughly 40 seconds to a minute?
Give or take. So, let's see. Natara got the... Oh, yes, Natara's off-step route as well. She got... I forget what these enemies are called all the time. The hard shellfish and the tentacle monster.
The Exocite and the Nautilus.
Yep. So, she's going to end up getting the Grasshopper encounter as well. Meanwhile, I hope everyone's enjoying the soothing beat of the drums at the Veld.
Shiny, shiny, shiny.
Thou, shiny.
Shiny, shiny, thou.
Anyway, we're gonna follow the wild child down to the Crescent Mountain, and he's gonna give us his shiny treasure here, but not before we see a very special character. So I hope everyone in Twitch chat enjoys Kappa. Throw out some Kappas for your Kappa friends, my friends.
Kefka is the best character there is in this game.
So, Gao's a funny character because he doesn't have the traditional fight command. He actually has rage, which is he lets him pick a enemy that he is leapt into in the belt, and once he actually selects an enemy that he uses, he goes into a berserk state and uses any of those enemies' moves. Which you would think wouldn't be too bad, except for the fact that he's in a berserk state and will attack anything and everything that he feels like attacking. So he also can only leap into the Velt enemies that he has seen, which is it's a neat mechanic, but it's kind of unruly. So
Targeting unlucky, getting both berserked, and your character, so not getting gouged at that point.
Well, let's see if we can get it on the second encounter here.
Now, Fred's about to enter Serpent's Trench, and this place can be nasty.
Nasty is a word for this place. For anyone that was around earlier during the Riz versus Swanee matchup, Aquaforms are pretty bad. We can get some really bad encounters here. So what we don't want to see is a single Aquaform on the first encounter, and we don't want to see any pincer attacks. Those are the big no-nos that we don't want to see.
The Aquaform should be noted to have a difficult-to-run flag on them as well.
Yep. So a single Aquaform on the first encounter will give the Aquaform a opportunity to use this attack called Aqua Rig that could wipe our party. So don't want to see that. Don't want to see a single Aquaform, and we don't want to see a back attack Aquaform.
And Fred gets that single Aquaform.
Yep, but he had pretty good ATB here, so he'll be able to dispatch this thing very quickly.
Start going through her shiny, shiny, thou, this cutscene.
Yep, so Serpent Trench is a little neat place because we're going to end up with two choices. We're going to want to go left or right. So the first time we're going to want to go right because it will take us to a cave and it will skip an encounter for us. The cave is relatively short, so we'll want to take that. But when we get to the second one, we're going to want to take a left and take an extra encounter because going through the cave in the second side, which is on the right, is quite a bit longer. So we don't want to go ahead and take that. We want to take the shorter encounter, even though it may be slightly more dangerous.
Now, we sort of want Cyan dead for this, because his run gauge is so terrible. But Fred gets through that third encounter. That's the only one to go.
Yep. So when we're on the
You can
Serpent
get some
Trench,
Kefkas on the Tara side.
Yep. So when we're on the Serpent Trench, we're guaranteed to get 4 encounters. We don't have any real manipulation for that, so we take what we can get. Incoming Kappas, very nice. So, looks like Fred is through the Serpent Trench A-OK.
Now, are we done here in this town, or do we need to do something?
Nope, we're gonna go pick up what we came to get in the first place by doing save and scenario first, which is in this case a Mithril Pike for later on. But we really want to get these smoke bombs. The smoke bombs let us run away from any battle, and it's gonna be very useful. Very being understated here for the other 2 scenarios. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up here, and that's the end of saving scenario. Coffee actually picked up the pike first, so he went pike, and then he got pike, and then he got smoke bombs.
Now we're coming into lock scenario. This is probably the shortest scenario of 3.
Yep. So usually what we would want to do here is we would want to run around town, steal some people's clothes, save some general chick, I don't know, Celis, I guess, I don't know what her name is, and then we would want to get out of town, but we're gonna skip all of that. Looks like took the menu a little early here. Gonna go ahead and give it another try.
There he goes. So yeah, we just want to clip through that guard and get out of here and get to the cave. The reason Fred put Locke into second position is because there's a possibility of getting a nasty encounter in the cave that has a gold bear. And if we get into a pincer attack, we want Locke to face the bear. And that will greatly reduce our damage.
Yep, so, actually, it looks like Fred is, living... Oh, no, he did move, Locke down to space. I was about to say, if you don't move Locke down to space, it can be very dangerous. Because, there's a very bad pincer attack that you can get, including this gold bear, whereas if your back is to the bear, which it would be if you're in the first slot, he could hit you and just one-shot you, as opposed to being in the second slot, where if you're in the second slot, you're actually facing the bear and you won't take full damage. Meanwhile, Natara is going through the Serpent Trench here. Looking kind of okay. Unfortunately, Sabin taking a hit for Cyan here with the True Knight.
This is our final encounter. Ooh, it's the back attack. There goes a Cyan, but that's actually good for us. And what's going on here with Locke? Looks like he's talking to somebody. But who?
Probably some ghost. Locke doesn't know anyone anymore.
So yeah, this movie's doing with the rod, it ignores magical defense and it just destroys the monster and the boss in one shot. It's actually a mechanic that's used quite frequently in later other runs of this game's categories.
Shoutouts to Rachel. Apparently Rachel says hi. So, oh wow, we're done with Locke's scenario. Man, I blinked.
It did go by rather fast. Let's see how many encounters Fred gets on this river.
So, we can't manipulate this river, unfortunately. Well, we could, but we don't manipulate this river. this river is kind of funky where we can get one encounter, which is what the ideal is. Or we can get no encounters. We can get 3 encounters. We're looking for as few encounters as possible on this river.
And also, if Bannon goes down, it still counts as a game over for us.
Yep, that rule is still in effect. Stupid Bannon.
And Fred just got 2 encounters.
Yep, looking pretty good. So, Terror scenario becomes a little bit less of a hassle because we have all these smoke bombs now. So we're going to just smoke bomb our way through all of these fights here. And we're going to get to one security checkpoint that we're going to follow the instructions exactly as it is given it to us, right?
One would think we would.
Yep, because we're law-abiding citizens. They tell us there's a security checkpoint and we're going to follow directions. So, looking like Natara's coming up to the cave for lock scenario. I'm pretty sure she's going to take a safety save here. Nope, she's just
no, she doesn't.
Here we go, just finishing up, and here's our security checkpoint.
And what do you think we should do in this room?
Well, if it was me and I'm me being a law-abiding citizen, I would follow the light. But we're speedrunners, so we break rules, right?
Indeed, but breaking the rules are for the greater good. Looks like Fred set off the security checkpoint a little early, but he's just pressing A and holding it. Make sure we get through it, and that's it. That's it. We're done with that point. Now we just gotta get to that old man's house we were at earlier.
Yep. So funny story about the security checkpoint. Fred took a couple extra turns in there, but if you face up and hold A right as the security light starts surrounding you, so if you move up and then just hold A, it will automatically get the gold star and it will just disable that part of the security checkpoint.
Natara taking out her tunnel armor now.
So, one shot, lightning or Thundaga with piercing magic defense. That's how the rods work, and down goes the tunnel armor.
Fred has at least one more encounter before you can get out of here, I believe.
Yes? 1 or 2? Not sure, but he has plenty of smoke bombs. He's at 9 right now, so this will take him down to 8 while Natara starts her Terra scenario. We'll see how many encounters she gets on the river.
She gets 3. Ouch. Now, we're ending with Fred the longest part of the cutscene sections of this game. About a 4-minute cutscene that deals with talking to this elderly guy of Narshe and talking about things about the Returners and the Empire and other stuff.
Blah 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 blah. Kefka's coming. Blah 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 blah. Magitech
blah 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 blah. Breaking neutrality.
Blah 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 blah. Esper. Blah 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 blah. That sums it up, right?
Pretty much in a nutshell.
So, all our friends are going to catch up to us and explain what's been going on. Sabin comes in with Cyan and Ga. Cyan says, hey, they poisoned my place. Ga's like, I came along, they kidnapped me. Here comes Locke with, well, there's the voice in his head, General Kutan.
Where do you think he picked her up from?
I would say from the Narshe mines, apparently, because that's where Kutan was.
Fair enough. So was she spying on people of Narshe then?
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds fair. In all seriousness, the reason we have Kutan is we need to initialize Celeste. And so the Moguls take up certain spots of characters in the game. And as we name characters, those Moguls get deleted from the game's memory. And Kutan just happens to take up Celeste's spot, and we can't do anything with this Celeste version now. Same stats as before with Kutan, same equipment, so it's pretty much useless.
Nice. So here comes Kefka. He wants that Esper, and he wants it bad. So it's time for us to save the Esper. So how do you think we're gonna do it?
I think we're gonna go back into that little tower defense minigame that we had earlier.
We've come full circle. This is full circle, the category, which is we start off with a tower defense and we're gonna end with the tower defense. So for those who don't know, this is Kefka at Narshe. This is only about a third of the run of a full game run, but because a full game run it's hard to dedicate an extensive amount of time to doing a full game run race. We only do Kefka at Narshe, and this is also for a category for people who are interested in the game and would like to learn or would like a shorter category. So once we finish Kefka at this point, this will be the end of our run, and they'll be done. So
Fred safety saving, which is probably well advised.
Yep. So we're gonna
now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yep, we're gonna go ahead and make one overpowered party here to go fight Kefka. So same rules apply. We're supposed to make 3 parties to defend Bannon here, but we're bad at following rules. So we're just gonna walk down and fight Kefka in his face.
And the reason why we decided to put the main group in the second slot is because the second group just has a straight walk down. So no fuss, no muss, easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So we're just gonna walk down here. We're gonna walk here. They'll never see us. They'll never check for us.
Those are some pretty lazy guards if they're not checking for us.
Well, I mean, you get what you buy, right?
Yeah, indeed.
You paid for this well, you use discount coupons, and that's what you get.
Red dodges Rider, and we're into the Kefka fight.
Yep, so the Kefka fight is kind of, well, it's not annoying, but it can be kind of hazardous, because Kefka, what we want to avoid is him getting his 3rd turn. If he gets his 3rd turn, things can get kind of hairy, because he can use a strong attack of Ice 2, so his 3rd turn can consist of him attacking, him casting Bolt on one party member, casting Bolt on all party members, Ice 2 on one party member, or Ice 2 on all party members. The one we want to avoid is Ice 2 on all party members, because that could just straight up wipe our party. So, what we're going to be doing...
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry.
With a single member of Ice 2, it does over 800 damage, so they're going to go down regardless.
Yep. And it looks like Fred is going to get through this alright. We want to weight trick a couple of things, but it looks like he's not going to need to. And he's going to clock in here with an official SRL time of 1:28:05. Congratulations to Fred for winning this race. That's going to put him at 2-1. Go ahead and switch over to sound there. So, Natara's timer didn't stop. There was an issue, but she is still going. I will let you know what her official SRL time is as it comes in. So give Natara your energy, folks. She is going to try and finish up this race strong here. And she's going to go ahead and move down to the 1 and 2 bracket, which unfortunately it doesn't look like she's going to be advancing onto the round of 16 here. But Fred will take her hopes and dreams and move up. He's going to be 2 and 1. He's going to be looking to go 3 and 1 to move on to the round of 16. A lot of people showing support for our racers here. I actually didn't update the commands here, but let me go ahead and do that real quick. So, if anyone wants to follow our racers, here's their Twitch channels. And then, for anyone that is looking forward to any additional racers coming down in the future, here is our schedule. Go ahead and keep an eye out where you guys can go ahead and see what racers are coming up and where to watch them. They're scattered around channels here and there due to availability, because we had over 70 runners in this tournament alone, so it's kind of a logistical nightmare to try and schedule all the runs to be restreamed. But we will try our best to bring you as much of the action.
And Tara is now entering Kefka, avoiding Netherrider, as she's come to call it.
Oh, yeah, there's currently no commentary commands. Sorry, Sharky. But if you want to follow the commentators, I'm Scratch Dragon.
I'm Zero Wing 211.
There you go. So you guys know where to follow me at. If you want to throw your link in the chat real quick, Zero Wing. But meanwhile, looking like Natara's finishing up her race here. Her official SRL time is going to be a 1:31:57. So let's get some GGs in the chat for Natara. So I'm going to see if either one of these guys wants to come in for an interview. As this is the last race of tonight. I believe our next race will be tomorrow. Actually, our next race is... we don't have any currently scheduled yet for restreaming, so I'll just keep an eye out on the schedule page, guys, for the next restreamed race. But the next race is actually Synthpop is back versus Kekuman Shoyu. There's no restream for that, but you guys can go ahead and catch that on their channels. That's going to be in 2 o'clock Eastern.
What?
Yeah, 2 o'clock Eastern.
Hey, Natara.
It's a lie.
Hey,
A
Natara.
filthy lie. Hello.
Well, it's not a lie because it's about as much of a lie as your husband betraying you. Eastern.
Hey, Natara.
I feel so betrayed, except that was completely on me, not on him, so, you know.
Well, it's
Oh,
not
look,
a
on
lie
Fred's screen,
because,
it's asking if I'm okay. Yes, I'm totally good.
Oh, let me go ahead and mute that real quick. Little
Oh, look, here I am. Hi.
funny feedback there. So, yeah, no, how do you feel about the race?
Honestly, I feel really good about it. The Ultros I practice Ultros a minimum of one time, if not like 3 to 4 times before every race. So there's no way I could have done that better. That was simply nerves and just, I have really poor reaction time. So the first thing that goes when I'm nervous are, our reaction time. So the second time around, it was going just as bad because of Tara's health. So I just used health and I got through. So it honestly went as well as it can go in the rest of the run, other than those grasshoppers, which, oh, that was RNG. That was bad RNG. I had that perfect. It was really good. I was really happy with that run.
All right, that's good. That's good. So,
Yeah.
1 and 2. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like you're going to be moving on to the round of 16.
Oh, that's okay. That means I just have some freedom for my next run.
Oh, we're going to be seeing tons of memes. So,
oh, no way.
yeah, the memes. So, once again, this is the Kefka at Narshe race, guys. So, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. If anything, you guys can go ahead and just check the schedule and see what races you want to follow up on. Here's a little shameless plug here. I have a race on Monday at 8 o'clock. So if you want to catch me, I'm not sure who the restream will be, but I will be. I'll restream it myself if I have to. No, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. Though I'm sure we appreciate the effort.
No, I'm not going to put myself through that logistical nightmare.
Against Obda Jr., that's going to be fun.
Yeah, fun is a word. But there's tons of races for you guys to catch. Just check the schedule. Once again, I'm Scratch Dragon. That was Zero Wing 211, and this is Natara and F Coughlin. Go ahead and follow all of us. So,
woo!
Any closing words, Zero Wing or Natara?
That was some race. Definitely one that was really close at the beginning.
Yeah, right? No, I felt really good about it. So, yeah, thanks again to both Scratch Dragon and Zero Wing for doing, an awesome restream and commentary job. Scratch Dragon did 2 in a row, so kudos for that. That's not easy.
Woo woo, 2 in a row. All right, so
woo woo.
Let's see if we can find somewhere for our friends to go. Let's find a lucky raid target here. Fred's down. Doesn't look like we have a good raid target for Final Fantasy VI, but we do have Zelda randomizer to go watch. So we're gonna go over to Speed Gaming 2 and watch some Zelda randomizer. So it's another race. I don't remember where we are in that tournament, but go ahead and go give those racers some support, guys. Once again, I'm Scratch Dragon. That was Natara, Fred Coughlin, and Zero Wing, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Night.